Hey, this is Vu, and this is 4 levels of rifling from beginner to professional. And although rifling is a fairly broad topic, there are a few overarching issues I've noticed that I'd like to address. And to begin with, we've got ThatSucks, who is going to do a few things right, but a few things wrong as well. I want to thank the sponsor for this video, Leadify. Leadify is an AI coach which allows you to improve faster by analyzing your Face-It or matchmaking games and giving you insight into your weaknesses with personalized training, and it tracks your progression as well. Whether you're trying to rank out of silver, prove to your friends you're in ELO hell, or you're my family trying to organize an intervention and get me to quit CS, Leadify is the app for you. It's also free to try, so give a click to the link in the description and try it out for free at leadify.com. Now ThatSucks is a Gold Nova 1 player here on Dust 2, and he's going to be heading over towards Catwalk. Now the first thing he does is throws an Xbox smoke, and although I don't love how he throws it and where he throws it from, I do like that he throws it. However, the way he plays around it isn't perfect. An Xbox smoke, it covers you from Opper's middle, but you have to understand it also covers riflers on Cat from lower tunnels. And that means especially when you delay throwing that smoke, and that means you're late towards top mid here, someone easily could be peeking you from Cat, trying to catch you with your pants down in middle. And you need to be well aware of that, sometimes using a bit of utility, sometimes having someone cover you from the cubby in middle, making sure nobody can peek out like that. Otherwise, you can definitely be caught. Following that, he's going to do a pretty smart clear here. He stops to clear this angle before he even recognizes an opponent's there. He's trying to maximize his peeker's advantage. But the problem I see very often in lower ranks is they'll clear that angle and then immediately start moving. This is a bit of a mistake. Oftentimes you'll see opponents play re-peek on the angle. They'll delay re-peek every once in a while, trying to catch you exactly like that, trying to catch you with your pants down. Instead of clearing something and immediately moving on, clear it, and then even sometimes back up and re-clear it, trying to catch that timing on your opponent. But at the very least, you can often hold the angle for a second before moving on. To our next player, Hummer. Hummer is a Gold Nova 4 player here on Inferno, and he's going to have an M4 and full armor and no utility. By utility. But he's going to have two main issues here. First off, he's going to take an op angle, and his crosshair is just going to be in a pretty bad position. When you're rifling, you want to make sure your crosshair is ready for people to peek a little bit wider than this peek here. People very rarely are going to be shoulder peeking you that tight. Obviously, you want it a bit higher as well, but you want it further out from the corner so that you don't have to adjust it heavily to grab the kill. The other thing is, I mentioned this is an op angle. When you're rifling, you don't want to be taking angles where your opponents are going to be peeking out, expecting you in an angle, and you have no other advantage. You know, if you have a headshot angle like Pit on Dust 2 or even Pit on Inferno here, if you were holding it from an aggression, you have some level of an advantage. It's harder for you to get hit. However, if they're peeking directly into you, looking right at you, and you don't have an advantage, you should be losing that engagement a large portion of the time. That's why when I mentioned earlier, delay re-peeking is a very strong concept. If your opponents would otherwise be peeking out looking right at you, you delay and re-peek trying to catch them after they've already cleared the angle in their minds. Following that, he's just going to be jiggling this for a little while, kind of confused as to what engagements you should be taking. Move his way over into apartments here, his teammate's already there, and he's going to be able to get this kill onto the Mac 10 player here before his team ends up in a 3v3, and he's going to do another kind of op angle. He's going to make his way over towards Arch side here with 19 health. The thing is, there's a lot of different headshot angles you can take on A side Inferno. There's the mid sight boxes, there's back sight boxes, you can even hide in sight trying to catch people with the close left boxes, you can be in pit, you can even be balcony trying to catch people off guard where they're not likely to be aiming at you. But playing here is not the greatest. Again, people are going to be peeking out expecting you there, and then when your opponents are in the bomb site, they have a huge advantage. A site on Inferno is in fact one of the toughest sites to retake on the map. On top of that, the bursting while he was in that gunfight was pretty weak as well. He was crouch walking, bursting really quickly. That's not how you really want to do it. Especially when you're low health, take a few shots and get the hell out of there. But if you're going to be full committing to the fight, you want to be strafing left and right, taking bursts as time goes on. Or you want to be spraying if you're confident at the range. Next up, we're going to have ZB here on Inferno, and he is a DMG level player. He's going to have an M4 and 0 utility here, and I love one of the things he does here. He's going to make sure his opponents have a very tough shot to hit, which gives him a huge advantage, and that's really one of the core tenets of being a good rifler. I like to call it subverting expectations. Give yourself that advantage when your opponents are looking, expecting you in one place, but poof, you come out of another. And although he has a couple of issues as well, I do love the play. So to begin with, coming to sandbags here, pretty solid play when you don't have much utility. However, I don't like that he's peeking out super close to sandbags. What I do like is he grabs that kill there, and then before the next player comes out, he's going to reposition. He's going to be on top of sandbags this time. Then he gets that kill, he drops, and he's going to peek out from behind sandbags again. He's constantly trying to make sure that his opponents don't have their crosshair in the correct position, able to pre-aim and pre-fire him. And that makes it very tough for them to get the kill, and he gets that extra half second of an advantage. That's all you really need if your crosshair is in the right spot and your aim is fairly decent. Again, the biggest issue in this play is that he's so close to the sandbag every time he goes for that peek. One thing you can do is you can hug the back wall and use the sandbags like a headshot angle. When you're low health like he was for that third kill, that can be incredibly effective. Now, if we want to go through a few rounds here rapid fire, we've got Justin, who is an LEM player here on Dust 2, and he's going to have a FAMAS as the CT rotator. Now, on the rotate over towards middle, he's doing a pretty good job. He sees that smoke thrown down and throws a counter nade in case they're coming out mid. He's a little bit slow on the rotate back over to A here, especially when your long player dies. You want to rotate fairly quickly. However, I do like that he goes into this corner here because his opponents are going to be swinging out, looking towards platform, not quite ready for him being in his exact position. If you look where they're aiming, neither of them is really aiming perfectly at him, and that allows him to line up the double. What I don't really love is that he sprays at them here. At headshot level, that's not really going to result in very many kills, even though it gets the double this time around. Into the very following round, you're going to see a very nice play here by Justin with angle isolation. The problem is he's a little bit uncertain on it. So as he makes his way out, he's clearing some angles. He knows the player's in pit, but he's not able to get the quick kill, and he tries to use this wall here, although not perfectly, to block off pit so he can cover corner knowing the rotate's going to be there. This is a very important concept to know with rifles. The reason you don't need to know it with an op is because you don't really put yourself in these positions with an op. It's still good to know with an op though, but it's very utilizable when you're rifling. So he tries to block off pit. Then he's going to back up along this wall here, again trying to make it so that this player in pit can't really peek out on him and clear this angle while focusing on the corner. The only problem is, again, a little bit of uncertainty. Eventually he will find the kill, traded by the op on ramp, but the play itself was quite nice. Next up, we've got KLX here on Inferno. He's also an LEM player, and he's also been in my videos like 15 times. We're going to break down an angle. What makes an angle good? I was critical of some angles earlier. Well, this angle is good for a few reasons and weak for a few reasons. There's a few pros and cons. The pros are you're in a really great off angle where your opponents are not going to be clearing you. They're going to be clearing something else, which means you get a huge drop on your opponents as they walk in. It's easy to get multi-kills. Your teammate is going to line up and probably be seeing them around the same time as you are, so they can't really focus on one or the other. The cons are they might flash you, and if you get blinded, you have nowhere to move, and you do have to commit to the gunfight. However, you're playing matchmaking, it's very unlikely they're going to flash you. When you have no utility, this type of angle is actually extremely effective. Next up for the advanced level, we got Tenshi, who is a Supreme Master of the first class variety here on Mirage, and he's going to be using an M4 and some utility to hold off a B rush. Now he's going to do a few things I quite like, especially with the utility, but a couple of things aren't perfect either. Opening up with this Molotov, you can actually wait to hear footsteps before throwing that. You don't need to throw it right off the bat. Following that, he's going to toss this nade, and just a quick note, One of the best things you can use nades for, especially on B on Mirage here, is splitting up a push. Rather than hitting the first player with the nade, you throw it a little bit further back that will slow the players that are second, third, fourth, and it'll prevent them from trading off of the first player. It also means your nade is more likely to do more damage if it's thrown in the majority of your opponents instead of thrown for the first player out. But either way, this nade isn't bad. It does a good amount of damage. Then he's going to maintain the crossfire here, aiming low for that player to jump out. A lot of people aim high, can't hit the shot, and then by the time the player lands, they're 10 bullets in and just straight whiffing. Aiming low, making sure you can land the shot is always a good idea. He doesn't swing wide looking to get players in apartments like lower ranked players do. And although the bursting there wasn't perfect, one of the things I love is that he's constantly strafing back and forth here when he was waiting for those players. Instead of staying static in the corner, the players already knew he was there. They were already going to be pre-aiming that. He continuously strafed, and although that didn't throw off his aim all that much, what it did do is it made sure that if a deagle peeked out on him there, it would be exponentially harder for that deagle to hit a one-shot headshot, which is really the only chance a deagle would have of killing him. Once he got that kill, round was basically over. Great play. Now, for the professional level, I would love to have a feature in here with someone breaking down their own clips. However, we had some technical difficulties and we had some trouble actually making it work with the features that I was looking for this time around. So I'm just going to break down some clips from a very good player, Yakindar. Now, Yakindar is going to make a play here that's actually very similar to one we've seen a couple of times in the video already. He's going to go for the sandbags play, and you'll see he's much further back than most of the players that we saw in the video already. So, with 3 players over to banana here, it makes perfect sense to go for a flash peek to get some information. He's going to do exactly that and get the first kill, and instead of backing up, he goes wide to sandbags here, but you'll notice he doesn't go directly into sandbags. He goes out in case, maybe they're solo banana and he can control extra space. It's really tough to clear sandbags late round when you don't have any utility, or you might not have any utility. But you'll notice he goes slightly out from sandbags to make sure if that trade comes out, he's in a perfect position to catch them off guard. He's going to take the shot, and then look at him re-aggress, crouch walking out again, trying to catch Perfecto with this crosshair looking sandbags when he's slightly out from sandbags. That gets him the second kill. He dodges the flash there, and then he tries to move his way and kind of swing back out there again, but I think he gets caught on the corner there, preventing him from actually going out. Still, he gets a third kill there. Great round. The next round, he's not going to get very many kills, but I love the way he plays this. T-side Inferno against Na'Vi. He's going to make his way quickly up the car, and he's going to dodge this flash. Then notice his crosshair is slightly out from the corner here. When you're playing against an SMG, they're going to swing on you, so it's better not to make it too hard by hugging your crosshair to the corner. Then, instead of pushing in, they know they can't beat the rotate into the B site, so they're just going to apply a bit of pressure, and then Yakindar is going to be the one that gets forced to be the man checking the flank. In these types of situations, it's possible Na'Vi have pushed through and have someone T-stairs or pit or bottom middle somewhere, making sure you're not falling back off banana, and they triple B. Instead of allowing that to happen, Yakindar clears out that flank, and Na'Vi have to be honest. They have to rotate back over to A here, knowing Virtus Pro could go back A. Now, an unfortunate situation is going to happen in that Flame is going to kill both of the players entering for VP, but this is a very nice play here from Yakindar. He doesn't get the kill on Flamey, and rather than posting forever, waiting for Flamey to repeak, he knows Flamey can apply pressure simply by surviving. He just needs to delay for time and allow the rotates to get there so they can play out the round. Yakindar doesn't want to allow that to happen, so instead of waiting, he's going to peek out and try and clear CT, allowing James to be the one to deal with Flamey in that cubby. He's not going to grab a kill off of that, but he will get the bomb plant, and James will pick up a second frag. And then the way he plays out the 1v2 is quite nice as well. So first, he's crouch walking out to the right here. This means that if Electronic was to jiggle the bomb to check where Yakindar had gone, Electronic would die. he'd be so wide that Yakindar would get the free kill. So strafing wide here allows him to do that. It also isolates a little bit. As he moves further and further towards oranges, it's harder and harder for Perfecto to get the trade or to spot out Yakindar. It makes this trade, this 2v1, very complicated when Yakindar is in a position that really blocks off one of the angles. Unfortunately for Yakindar, Electronic's going to jiggle him correctly and then re-swing, crouch under the crosshair and grab the kill, but that was well played by both sides. Into the following round, we've got this one again against Na'Vi, this time on Mirage, and this is going to be a very nice play, kind of in the opposite situation of what Flamey was last round. Yakindar is going to get that kill with the deagle. He initially thinks of backing up, but then realizes mid is clear, grabs it, and he's going to go for the flank here. And once he gets close on the flank, that's when things get really interesting. Now, the first thing to note is that he will hear Simple scope in here in a moment. Simple turns around to watch the flank, scopes in, and Yakindar hears it. So he pre-aims this perfectly and gets the pre-fire kill. Following that, he doesn't over-aggress. He jiggles out, spots Boomich, and he just backs up. This is absolutely perfect because he knows simply surviving applies a ton of pressure to Na'Vi, and they have to constantly be worried about him. In waiting, he allows James to rotate up into connector, and he allows a CT smoke that's blocking off Sanji to dissipate, meaning they can actually play out the 3v2. In the meanwhile, they're kind of trapped in the bomb site here. They don't have much options as to what they can do, and now as soon as this smoke starts dissipating, Yakindar's pushing his way in, and they're able to pick up kills on Yakindar and Sanji. That was a brilliantly played round, as well as the other ones, and I hope this helped. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.